Kudos, kudos to who knew that theme song because you're going to be hearing a lot of those songs at Family Camp this year. So, first off, welcome. My name is Rich Bazzillo. I'm NEHA's executive director, and I am joined by my counterpart right now, Miss Diane Bruno. Diane, I'm waving to you.
Hey, hi everyone. My name's Diane Bruno. I am NEHA's Program and Engagement Manager, and I will be helping out big time at camp this year.
Awesome. Well, we are so excited to have you on tonight. The virtual orientation really started during COVID, and it's been a great way to touch base before camp. We usually, prior to the pandemic, we were doing all this on site. So this is just a way for all of you to touch base with NEHA. If you are new, Diane, how many new families do we have coming?
14 new families.
14 new families. If you are a new family, even if you don't have your camera on, raise your hand. We are so excited to welcome you into our Wicked Strong family and to have you at Family Camp this year. If you are a returning family, thank you for coming back. There are many returning families coming as well. It can be overwhelming going to anything new. So we want you to know that you have friends on the Zoom and at camp. We always joke, but it's not really a joke. It's the truth that family camp is the safest place to have a bleeding disorder in New England during the week that we will be at camp. You won't have to explain your bleeding disorder to anyone. There are like-minded people. There is a great crew of medical staff from around New England, from our hemophilia treatment centers, bleeding disorder treatment centers. And it's a great way that what has brought us all together on this Zoom and in a couple of weeks is a bleeding disorder. So if you are new, buckle up. We're going to go for a ride tonight. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We're going to do a Q&A at the end of this session. And if you're watching it, because it is recorded, because we know some people can't, thank you for watching it. But if you have questions, you will not interrupt us if you just put them in the chat there as well. So I'm going to get started. As you can see, Pow behind me, sometimes you can't see my hands because they blend into the background. But our camp this year, our family camp this year, is superhero theme. There are many ways to interpret superheroes. Parents, caregivers are superheroes. Children, whether you have a bleeding disorder or not, are superheroes. Our past generation that really laid the work for the treatment and the advocacy work that has been in our community are superheroes. Our healthcare workers. There are so many people that make up a superhero. That is going to be the theme, and you're going to see that resonate throughout the entire week that you are at camp during your duration. So we encourage you. There's an all camp activity on Friday. If you are inclined, dress up. It could be homemade. It could be bought on Amazon. It can be interpreted of however you can really think about superheroes, but we're going to really embrace ourselves into the superhero theme as we go forward into tonight and during camp. Um, this is really a space for us to be together and a space to ask questions and a space to be welcomed. At NEHA, our mission really boils down to education, advocacy, and support. And I also want to say inclusion, that although our name says hemophilia, we are included in including with our arms open to VWD, platelet disorders, other rare types of factor deficiency, that any inheritable bleeding disorder is always welcome at NEHA and at all of our events. As I mentioned, our theme is superheroes, POW. This is our 33rd year of camp, which is absolutely incredible that this has been going on for 33 years. It was founded by Glenn Roy, who is a beloved nurse at the Maine Health Thrombosis and Hemophilia Treatment Center up in Maine. He is on the call tonight. Glenn, please give a wave. You'll be seeing Glenn quite a bit at camp. A lot of hard work has gone into starting this, which it did start up in Maine, and then it moved to a bigger facility, which is where we're going to be in New Hampshire. As I mentioned, I am NEHA's executive director. Diane Bruno is our program and engagement manager, who is doing a lot behind the scenes with immunizations that you're sending in, We call it the Tetris game of housing, trying to figure out color groups. And so the magic of camp really happens once it all comes together. Emily, our medical director, who are you going to hear from the Dartmouth HTC? Emily, give a wave there. You're going to hear from her a little bit later. We also have Michael J. Gardner, who is our camp activities director. Um, Michael is new to camp this year, our camp, but not new to camps in general. So we are so excited to welcome Michael as our activities director. We have John Youngins, who is also going to be helping out with our camp activities, who Michael and John give a wave, are going to be the dynamic duo that are going to really help to create a lot of the activities at camp and the structure around the fun that you'll see from when you wake up until you go to bed. Many on the call tonight are our camp committee and camp counselors. We cannot say thank you enough for what you do. If you are a camp counselor, a junior counselor, or on the camp committee, give a wave. You will be meeting them all at camp this year. So much hard work goes into this with evening phone calls, evening Zoom calls, lots of ideas going back and forth. There are subcommittees that go into the adult education, go into the child education, go into the child programming, our decorations, just a lot of moving pieces, and we cannot do this without all of you. And of course, our counselors and junior counselors who'll be taking care of your kids throughout the day. Camp is also made possible in terms of the financial piece by so many of you on this call. Our walk really makes camp essential. Camp is our biggest expense of the year. Our walk, which is happening on September 27th, we are proud, wicked proud, to have the largest bleeding disorder walk in the country, going on year 7. Sorry, New York City chapter, who used to claim the prize there, but it's a really testament to all of you that's on this call that we come together and raise a phenomenal amount of money. It's typically a third of our budget that is raised, and it helps us to put our camp on this year. Also, the HTCs that are going to be present at camp who have been helping them. I named a couple of them, but you're going to be seeing a lot more, and they also give financially to help put this incredible program together. So I'm going to go through a couple of different things. Diane is going to have some photos in the background just to show you as I talk. So um, if you have not been to Geneva Point before, we hope that this gives you a little bit of a taste of what the facility is like. I will answer right off the bat, no, this is not a Ritz-Carlton, but it is not rustic camping either. So many, we usually get questions from first-time families and ask, is this going to be, is there a toilet? Is there running water? Is there electricity? And the answer is yes to all of those. This is a beautiful, when I think of quintessential New England, I think of Geneva Point. The way it's situated, the history of the campus, the way that the waterfront overlooks Lake Winnipesaukee, it is just absolutely what you would think of on a postcard when you think of New Hampshire or really New England in the summer. So NEHA Family Camp seeks to build knowledge, self-care, and community in a supportive, safe, and engaging environment. Our camp is unique because it involves the entire family. Many bleeding disorder camps just include the children. This is about the family dynamic, and this is what's been going on for 33 years. So all meals are shared together. So parents and children will eat meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. You will see the agenda that we will be sending out, that during the day is when they go into their respective color groups depending on their ages, and then we come back together for the meals. There's everything there from waterfront, swimming in the lake, to archery, to infusion training for those that need an IV treatment for a bleeding disorder. We have wood shop, we have arts and crafts, all the things that make a summer camp kind of at the heartbeat of it there. Another central part of all camp is really building the independence. camp, regardless of your type of bleeding disorder, is about giving you the confidence as a child and as an adult to live a life that is fulfilled of having a bleeding disorder. No one chose to have a bleeding disorder, but what we are choosing to do is put tools in our tool belt to to be better equipped that as you go on your journey, which is 365 days a year when we're not at camp. Camp is only a short amount of time. Is how can we give you the confidence, the tools, and the skills to become independent of being tethered to a hospital or a nurse or a doctor. We love our nurses and doctors, but having a bleeding disorder is about confidence and about independence. Um, Everything at camp is intentional. There is nothing that is random that we just throw in there to fill a time slot. A lot goes into looking at previous surveys and really thinking about how we can create an experience that is unique and a growing opportunity for everyone there. And I'll give you an example. Campfire, which happens every night, is entertaining. There's lots of songs, there's some goofiness, there's s'mores one night as well. But it's an intentional program for experiential education. It's getting children and adults out of their comfort circles and zones and standing up and being silly and smiling and dancing. It's something where when we get to the last night and we're all doing it together, it is truly magical in terms of the vast sound that is produced from our campfire each night. Um, Superheroes is our theme. Heroes United is our tagline for this year. So, being curious, expanding. I talked about a comfort circle, exploring. All of those things really, really tie away into what camp is going to be this year. So, Diane, I was not looking at the photos, so I will look at them now if you want to go through them. So this is an example of a cabin. Families in certain cabins, most of the cabins actually are with their own family unit. They're not sharing a cabin with another family in the sense of sleeping in the same room. Unless you are a family, this is what a typical cabin will look like. There is other lodging there, but there's kids love it. There's bunk beds. They're depending on the cabins, they many of them have a toilet and running water and a sink. While Geneva Point is large, it's not so large where it's going to take you no more than 5, maybe 7 minutes to walk from where you are to the meeting house and other places. So let's see what else Diane has up in store. So Winnie Scoops, yes, that is me and one of my favorite spots. There's ice cream every night. Everyone gets a ice cream coupon that we will provide you with one free scoop in a cone or in a cup. But that doesn't stop you. Winnie Scoops, we heard, is actually going to be open after lunch all the way, I believe, till 10 o'clock. So as long as the kids ask you if they want ice cream multiple times a day, they can totally get it. There is an array of flavors, but this is right by the inn. Again, it's super close. We also, for the adults and for any of our junior counselors, Winnie Scoops is open in the morning. Everyone will be getting coffee coupons. This is a little bit better, or maybe much better, than the standard coffee that they're going to be offering at breakfast. This is based upon feedback. Before we started offering these fueled by caffeine coupons, we had so many volunteers that pretty much became baristas. There was Keurigs galore, and there was people making pots of coffee. Laura, I'm looking at you. And it just became way, 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 way too much to manage. So this is great that Winnie Scoops has. They often have flavored, unsweetened, and sweetened, but you do not have to worry about paying for coffee in the morning. That will be in your registration, these coffee coupons there. There's also a kind of a general store in there too. So if you forget a toothbrush or bug spray, we may have some of that, a limited supply, but Winnie Scoop store has that as well. This is what one of the campfire circles will look like because our camp is right around the start of the summer solstice, which is the 21st of June. It is light. So it will not be completely dark when we do campfire. It will get darker once we end it, but it is going to be light and it's super, super magical that you can see us in the circle here. Kids, based upon their color groups, will be sitting with their counselors. Those benches that you see everyone sitting on were built last year by volunteers. Our adventure club helped out. Some of our parents helped out and got donated wood. And Tracy, our associate director, has a wood burner and the NEHA logos on there. And Geneva Point uses this throughout the year. That was another picture of a campfire circle when it's a little bit later. This is kind of the outside of your comfort zone and really exploring. These are some of the fun games and songs that we have. If you don't know the songs, I mean, I just was in the car recently and the song came on. I didn't know it, but I liked listening to it. I will get to know it. And I think that's part of it is we want it to be inclusive, that even if you don't know the songs, and Diane, don't we have a songbook that we send out to everyone too?
Yeah. So for new families, we'll have some of the songs that you hear most often, and we'll put them in your camp packet. So when you arrive at camp. Also, I did run through some of the meeting spaces earlier, so that those are just so that people were familiar with them. We don't have to go through everyone, but just so you know what to be looking for when you get on campus.
Awesome. Awesome. And also, once you get to campus, you're going to drive in. There's lots of signs. Going anywhere can be overwhelming. We have big red flags that are flying. But what is great too is there's a lot of volunteers. There are a lot of volunteers that are situated that will help you get to where you need to be. And then there will be a proper stop place, a check-in, and then instructions as to what comes next. So really if you can get yourself to Geneva Point by putting into your GPS, I promise that once you're there, we will make it as seamless as possible. If you have any questions, continue to put them in the chat, but I am going to turn my superpower virtual throwing the aura to Emily Bisson, who is going to talk a little bit from the medical side of camp. So Emily, it's all you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I see lots of familiar names on the screen, which is great. I've been part of NEHA Family Camp since 2012, so this is summer 14. Um, Glenroy taught me all the things that I know. Many of you know me as a nurse practitioner at the HTC. I currently work at Dartmouth. I previously worked in Connecticut, so I know lots of folks from around New England. Um, I am the person in charge of the health center at camp, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. So, when you filled out your registration, you told us about your family members, including your children who have a bleeding disorder. We do review that information with the counselors. So, your kids during the day will be going to activities with our counselors who are all well versed in understanding bleeding disorders. Many of them have a bleeding disorder themselves or um, have a sibling or another family member with a bleeding disorder. Um, and so those folks are aware. We would like you to make sure that you bring all of your necessary medications, most especially your bleeding disorder medications, to camp. Um, if it's a warm day like today, we have refrigerators available. There's 4 household size fridges available in the health center, and we can show you right where that is when you arrive. You're welcome to keep your medication in the fridge. We will have plastic bags for you, and we ask you to label your medication and then also write your name on the door of the fridge that it's in so that when we're trying to match up people with medication, we don't have to go through 4 fridges. Um, uh, if you don't want to keep your bleeding disorder medications in the fridge or you have medications that don't need to be refrigerated, please keep them in your cabin. Please do be mindful that um, you should keep them out of sight and in a secure location, just so that your kids or other critters don't find them. Um, but you don't have to bring your medication to us. We also really want to make sure that you bring any specific sort of emergency meds that you might have. If somebody in your family has a significant allergy and carries an EpiPen or has an inhaler, please bring those to camp. And if it's your child who needs those items, please talk to us about it and talk to the counselor who's going to be with them during the day. We like to try to hand those back and forth so that if your child is down at a location that might be a little bit more distant and gets stung by a bee or something and needs an EpiPen nearby, that one is close to them and with them, and then the counselors will give those items back to you when the kids return to your care at meals times or for the evening. Um, Also, if your child has specific snack or food requirements, you know that either there's special dietary needs or just um, very specific preferences. There is plenty of food at camp. We do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 2 snacks each day. But if you know that someone in your family needs something special, bringing some of that to camp is probably a good idea, and you can supply it um, to their counselors if it's like a morning or an afternoon snack need. Um, if anything changes between now and camp, hopefully we won't have broken bones or anything big going on, but please let us know at check-in, just so we're aware and so that we can make any accommodations or arrangements that um, your camper may need, your child may need, um, and make sure that we're sort of up to speed and planning for that. And then this doesn't usually come up as a huge issue, but the nurses and the HTC staff that are at camp are specifically at camp to provide bleeding disorder education and support. If you have some other healthcare need, we're going to help you figure out where you should go to get that taken care of, whether it's a trip to urgent care or a call to your family provider back home, or in an emergency going to the ER, or potentially calling an ambulance. The local hospital is Lakes Region General. It's part of Concord Hospital. It's a small local rural ER. They do not have hemophilia products on standby, um, which is why it's extra important that you bring your bleeding disorder medications that your family member needs, both for any routine preventative doses that they get, but also any sort of emergency doses. Rich and Diane, did I miss anything there? Okay.
Right.
I guess I also would put a plug in for bringing any sort of routine medication that you might typically have in your medicine cabinet at home that somebody in your family might need, be it Tylenol, Tums, allergy medication. There's often sort of a fair amount of pollen at camp, and so sometimes I think people arrive and wish they had their Claritin, Zyrtec, what have you, over-the-counter meds. We do have a limited supply of some of those, but we're really expecting folks to bring what they need from home because the preferred formulation and flavor for your family. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Adventure Club. So the Adventure Club is for our teens aged 13 to 15, where our goal, as Rich touched on at the beginning, is to really help foster independence for these young adults in both managing their bleeding disorder, but also just managing their life and navigating the world with a bleeding disorder in a way that keeps them safe. Um, so we'll have a special session for Adventure Club parents on Wednesday, right after the parent meeting at camp. The teens will be doing an orientation activity and an orienteering activity, and we historically challenge our teens to do some of their infusions and their bleeding disorder management in unique spaces helping them to sort of plan ahead for living their life in the world and making sure that they have the tools they need to keep themselves safe. Um, so more to come if you have a parent of a teen. And then infusion class, the email that you used to register for this meeting tonight also contained sign up links for the infusion classes. I'm gonna talk about those, and sometimes there's questions about which class is right for which person. In general, we feel that if you have a bleeding disorder that is treated with home infusion, whether that is um, intermittently as needed or whether that's something that you do regularly, not all bleeding disorders have a home infusion product, and we recognize that. We have asked HTC staff to comment on the medical forms they're filling out for the children attending camp, whether it's appropriate for them to also receive some infusion training. And then we really pride ourselves on providing infusion training for all of those individuals across the lifespan. So we have classes for campers as young as 5 and 6, and um, they come with their color group counselors, and we make it a really positive experience, and an experience that is sort of anchored in the fact that other people do this too. And this is about managing your own healthcare needs so that you can live your life in the way that you want to live it. Um, would really encourage you, if your child is somebody who has the potential to need to infuse peripherally at home, to encourage and support them to come to those classes. Um, Even if they don't really want anything to do with, poking themselves, even just watching other people is a huge step for lots of kids, and they grow in that progression of comfort over time. um, there are some ground rules. As I mentioned, we need to know that the HTC has agreed that this is appropriate for your child or your family. um, Folks, because of infection control concerns, um, we can't poke people who aren't part of our immediate family. So we can't poke counselors, and we can't we can't allow friends to poke each other, because if there's an accidental needle stick, there are a whole bunch of steps that need to be taken if it's somebody who's not part of your family group. So we just ask that you respect those sort of rules, because it's what allows us to do this at camp. There's a certain amount of liability associated with running infusion classes in a camp setting for a diverse group of people of lots of ages. So please help us continue to do this by understanding these safety regulations that we have. There are family infusion classes, there are adult infusion classes, and there are camper infusion classes. We have family infusion classes on Wednesday on arrival. There's a session from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, and then also 2 sessions during family choice on Thursday afternoon. Um, Family infusion class is for families to practice if you have a child who sometimes needs to get infused, for the parents who have previously had experience to come and practice working with their child, or for their child who's previously had experience working, potentially infusing mom and dad, or like participating with mom and dad. It's not designed to be the first time someone has ever started the infusion process. We have other learning opportunities for that. Specifically in the adult infusion class, which is happening Thursday afternoon from 2 to 3, you can sign up there to work on your infusion skills, whether you're learning to self-infuse on yourself, or whether potentially you may need to self-infuse a family member. That's the adult sort of training opportunity. And then the kids, as I mentioned, come by age group with their counselors. We would like to ask that parents sort of respect that time as being only for the kids. A lot of kids do much, much better and are willing to try more things if the sort of pressure of mom and dad watching, or whoever the parental figures are watching, are sort of removed from that scenario. We will have lots of pictures we try to get pictures of every kid who is self-infusing for the first time. So it's not that we don't want you to be part of it. It's just that oftentimes kids are sort of a lot uh, a lot more able to sort of step outside their comfort zone if there's not the pressure of family members right there. And if you want to work on, if you have an infusion that's due, or you want to specifically work on infusion with your child at camp, um, please just talk to one of the nurses, and we're happy to try to set up some time for you to take care of that or work on that together. Um, and I'm just checking my list here. Um, those who self-infuse for the first time at camp, those campers who self-infuse for the first time at camp, um, receive a big stick award. And we do, it is quite literally a big walking stick engraved with their name and the NEHA logo and the year. It's a really big deal for our campers. Um, it definitely marks a milestone. And if your child has achieved a big stick in prior years, we still really would love to see them in infusion class, because especially with all of the new treatment options out there, a lot of folks aren't having to use that skill on a super regular basis. So trying to help continue to sort of foster that skill set and the confidence that comes with it, so that if there's an emergency, if they have surgery, if something happens and they need to be able to utilize that skill, they have that skill that they've practiced. I think that's all I have. And I couldn't see the chat while I was doing this, so I don't know if there are any questions specifically
I
there.
did not see any questions specifically to you yet, Emily, but if you have questions for Emily, by all means, put them in the chat. Emily, Glenn, the medical team is going to be a wealth of knowledge as you come to camp and leading up to camp too. This doesn't stop here. If you have questions that you can think of, by all means, you can email one of us. And we will do our best, as we're not going to go through everything tonight and answer every question. So we're going to transition into some of the logistics. One of the things that want to explain, that if you're new to camp and if you're back from camp, or coming back, is all meals are underneath a very, very large tent. Um, the food will be inside of the kind of mess hall underneath the underneath the inn. You can eat underneath the tent depending on the weather. Some choose to eat on top of the inn porch, which is right above where the tent is. There is also places where you can eat in a field nearby too. So and some do choose, you can eat inside where the food is. If it's a warm day, it does get very hot in there. As the question was in the chat, there is no air conditioner on the campus itself. Thankfully, up in central northern, New Hampshire, even when it's really hot, the nights do get cool, which is nice. Unlike the further south you go, but the tent will be outside, and that's where we will get the food. It is camp food. Again, this is not going to be Emerald Lagasse cooking up your best meal. Although some do say that they come to camp and they miss the food. So I will say it's not. It has come a long way, and we do our best to work with Geneva Point for any allergies. If you did note allergies in your registration, we work with Geneva Point to ensure that there is something available for each person. There's always a salad bar, which is great. The salad bar is actually pretty comprehensive with grilled chicken, boiled eggs, lots of vegetables. So that is always a staple that is there. And depending on the meal, which will change. But there is an allergy table as well. So Geneva Point's been really accommodating in terms of making sure that you get what your family needs or your individual needs while you are at camp. Um, New this year, and if you haven't been before, this will be part of your first time experience, that when you come to camp, you will be building your superhero bag that will help you get through camp. So there's going to be a little scavenger hunt that once you settle in with your family, we're going to encourage all families to do. There's going to be several booths, pharmaceutical companies that will be setting up. We encourage them to be in costume. And part of the scavenger hunt is you're going to go and get your towel, one per each member of your household, a water bottle, sunglasses, hopefully sunscreen, things like that that you can build as you're going. And then the end part of the scavenger hunt will be the family photo. So it's very intentional. And we're putting the booths, if you've been to a NEHA event before, an exhibit hall is usually in a square or it's lined. This will be five, maybe seven max, so it's not too many. And we're going to put them intentional at the Winnie Scoops, in the barn, or by the barn, by the wood shop, just so you can also get a feel of the campus itself, as we're going to have multiple families doing that. So that will be part of your agenda, and that will be Wednesday after you settle into your cabin, as well. Simple living, again, this is not, I would not, and unless anyone wants to push back on me here, I would not call this rustic. I've seen rustic before. I would say that this is a typical camp experience with all the necessities that we need to have a healthy, happy, fruitful time in 2025. There is lights at night. I wouldn't say that they're super bright. The stars are absolutely incredible. In terms of what to bring, I would say Brandon sent out a packing list. Refer to that. If you have any questions about that, by all means, please let us know. But bedding, lots of towels. You will be getting one towel per person in your household as well. So just keep that in mind, that you'll be leaving with, if you're a family of three towels, four, etc. And fans as well. As a great question from Chris in the chat, that there's no AC. We did have, and she's not on here, and I'm totally going to embarrass her, and this is before my time here, but our board president, Nancy, if you get to know her, you can jazz her up about this. She did bring an air conditioner one of her first years to camp. And I'm pretty sure, for those that were there, I think it short-circuited something on the camp. So we did, and it was like a portable AC. So no ACs. Even hair dryers can cause some issues. I know, especially with longer hair, it can be easy for the hair dryers, but unless it's like a super low wattage hair dryer. Crystal, thank you for the comment about CPAP. If you need a sleeping device at night, Geneva Point will work with you. If you use a certain extension, by all means, bring that too. And we'll make sure you have those accommodations as well. Hot plates, straighteners. This is simple living for the 3 days, 3 nights and 4 days that you will be there. Wi-Fi, there is Wi-Fi. It can be spotty. The inn, which is the central part of the campus, is where the Wi-Fi is the best. But we really encourage everyone to unplug and be present in nature with each other. I know it's tough, as many or all of you are taking time out of your full-time jobs to come here. So we know things are going to come up, but there is Wi-Fi. I can't guarantee how strong the signal is, but it does work. Bug spray. We cannot, in sunscreen, emphasize this enough. Again, we will have some, but not enough for the entire campus. Please bring bug spray. Ticks are an issue. I mean, it seems like this season is a lot. Our son, who's 20 months old, had a tick in March behind his ear, and that's super early, but they're out there. And just really think through of checking yourself at night. and having the proper bug spray and sunscreen as we're going to be outside for most of the day. Already touched upon the important caffeine coupons and ice cream coupons. Really exciting there. Meal programs. There are announcements. We're not going to sing the song for those that are there because there is a song for announcements that we will sing anytime you say the word. But there are oftentimes during a program like this, things get shifted a little bit. So time may change, location may change. We use that time at the meals to kind of just update about what's going on. Anyone with a role model shirt on, Diane, what color is it?
It will be Galapagos blue this year.
Yeah, so it's like a bluish, greenish color. We intentionally picked these shirts to stand out from the color groups. If it says role model on the back, these are staff, these are volunteers, and these are camp counselors and junior counselors. You can go up to anyone, and we will make sure that you have the right questions that are answered there as well. Um, Awards. If this is, so we give service awards for every 5 years. And for parents, this is when your child becomes a junior counselor and you start volunteering. If this is a milestone year from you, please let us know if you didn't already include that in the registration. It seems like every year we unintentionally forget someone, and it's not because we're doing it intentionally. It's either our records are not accurate, or we try really hard to make sure. So we rely on you to let us know, hey, I think it's my 10th year volunteering. It's okay, even if it's not. We would rather know so we can properly say thank you, because I've been in several situations where we forget, and it's heart-wrenching when you do forget an award and the recognition that it needs. Um, in the event of inclement weather, and we did have a scenario 3 years ago where it was one in every 50 year, I may even say 75-year flood that just happened as soon as people were arriving. The septic tank was overflowing. We all had to gather in the meeting house. If there is a situation, and that's the first time that that has happened to that degree in 33 years, and I do not anticipate it happening this year. But if there is inclement weather, the chapel, the barn, the in porch, and the meeting house are all good places. When we get on site, Geneva Point will give us a rundown too. But we do have a whole plan in place that if there is something that needs activation, we also text at camp. So if you're new to NEHA or new to camp, we use a text message system where you'll get a text once or twice a day reminding about certain things. It's also how we update you that if something needs to be changed, we can send that out. I know I said to unplug, but it is our best way, since email is not great, that we can text for those that are seeing that. And we will use that. You will receive a test text prior to camp, just so that you will receive it there. Sometimes, depending on how you fill out the registration, and maybe one parent that's getting the text and not the other, we can easily fix that. So, for example, if the test comes in and one parent gets it and the other one doesn't, and you both want to get it, you can just come up to us and say that. We also ask, this is camp. It is a haven, it is a safe space. It is what many our counselors who are volunteering their time, I know they often say, look forward. This is the highlight of their year, coming together and being with your kids. We do ask staff, volunteers, and counselors in the registration, we ask parents to follow the same thing. I don't love this acronym because it sounds like Eeyore saying this, the SAD rules. But I don't like to use the word rule as well. It's just being respectful of the place that we're in. So sex, alcohol, and drugs. We try and say that not try. We say that they are not permitted on the premises. And we try to be respectful of that for where we are. It's 3 days, or 3 nights and 4 days, but also for the campers that are there and the experience that we're having. I'm just going to briefly touch upon this. There will be at least one service dog that will be helping a family at camp. We just ask to talk, if you can, we encourage you to talk to your kids prior to coming to camp to explain what a service dog is. It's not to play with, it's not to pet, it's to be working. There will be times that the service dog will be off duty, which means that the dog can engage with anyone that would like. But while it's on duty and has that vest on, we ask that you be respectful of its mission and really working ability to help this family and not engage. We've had some situations where it's tempting. It's a lovely, large, beautiful dog to go up and pet and engage with the dog, but we ask try to ignore it as much as you can. But with that said, I'm going to transition over to Diane.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. All right. So I'm just going to go through a few of the programming components that you can expect at camp for basically just so you have an idea of what a day at camp will look like for you and some things that you should expect when you are transitioning your children into color groups. So, as Emily said, we provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner while you're at camp, as well as snacks. So, the first thing that you'll do when you arrive at camp is the whole check-in process. You'll get lots of information when you check in, including the scavenger hunt, things that need to be done as you arrive. In that first day, really, there's not much that happens with the color groups. You're just checking in, going to your cabin, you'll have dinner, and then we'll have campfire. The next day, we start with breakfast, and then the first programming component that you'll find is called Morning Circle. So at this time, everyone on camp will come together in a morning circle. There's a big giant center green that everybody stands on. We'll probably sing some fun songs. And as Rich said, we really want everyone to participate and step out of your comfort zone. The more you participate, the more you'll get out of camp. So we really want everyone to join in on the fun and be a little bit silly. So after a morning circle is when you'll have, and this is on Thursday, is when you'll have your first experience where you're leaving your kids completely. You touch upon this a little bit on the first day. Some parents choose to stay with their kids, but when you leave them completely will be on Thursday. So at this time, the adults will go to their own programming and kids will be with counselors. So what we refer to them are as color groups. And so you'll be either in purple group, orange group, blue group, and you'll get all of those assignments when you arrive to camp. Included in those assignments are little silicone bracelets that you'll find, as well as bandanas. And we ask that you have these bracelets and bandanas with you when you go into your color groups on Thursday and Friday. So as you drop your kids off for color groups, everyone joins together. So say purple group is all on the center green. If you're a purple group, you'll go over to them. There's a lead counselor for that group who's on the call today. Anthony can give a wave. He's fantastic. There's also counselors who are in the group as well as junior counselors. So junior counselors are the step that comes before counselors. So they're 16 and 17-year-olds who are training to become full-fledged counselors. So you can expect about 6 to 7 counselors in each color group. So when you arrive to drop your kids off, you'll give your silicone bracelet to one of the counselors. This is a really important step when you're at camp because it signifies a transfer of responsibility. So the parents are in charge of the bracelets. These aren't something that the kids wear because we don't want to lose them. So parents will give the silicone bracelet to one of the counselors on site. And that means my child is now in your care and they take care of them for the time that they're in color groups. When you return to pick up your children, the counselors will give you back your bracelet so that you know that now care for your child is your responsibility. And that's also something we really want to reiterate is that when children aren't in the care of counselors, we want to make sure that everybody is accounted for It's really easy at camp because you know a lot of people, you may be meeting a lot of people, to have kids kind of go off with a different family or do an activity while you're eating. But we want to make sure that all kids are being taken care of at all times. So if they're under the care of somebody else, just make sure they're accounted for. We don't want anybody getting lost in the woods or heading down to waterfront on their own. So just make sure you know where your kids are at all times. And also when you drop off your kids, each kid will have a bandana. The kids get very creative with their bandanas. They wear them in all different ways, but we ask that every kid wears their bandana that is the color of their color group. And this is so that the counselors can easily identify which kids are part of which group. So some kids wear it on their head, on their arm, on their leg. They do all kinds of crazy things with them. If you find something even more inventive that you'd like to bring to camp, feel free, but make sure they have on their color group bandana when you drop them off to color groups. All right. So once kids are in their color groups, they will be with them to do activities. So they'll go through rotations like arts and crafts, wood shop, archery. All of these things are rotations. They're usually about an hour, and then there's time to travel in between from one site to another. So kids will travel to do those activities with their counselors, and we really encourage adults to make sure that they can, break away and go to the adult educational sessions at that time. There's also some built-in free time for adults this year that we really want people to be able to connect with other families, take some time just to rejuvenate themselves from being at camp. So make sure you partake in all of the adult programming as well. So color groups are based on age and also buddy requests that were given to us in registration. We work really hard on constructing the color groups, and we try to keep people where they are placed once they're on site. If there is like a glaring problem, absolutely come and talk to us and we can try to make arrangements to move someone, but that would entail giving all of the information over to the next color group. So make sure that you reach out to us as soon as possible when you're on site so we can make that transition. But we want to make sure that all kids are comfortable in their color groups. Also, that being said, I just wanted to quickly give a plug to all of our counselors who do a great job really getting to know the kids before they even arrive at camp. So the counselors do counselor training for 2 days before families arrive. And in that time, we give them a whole ton of information on every kid in their group, including everything that you filled out in the registration, like what helps them when they're feeling sad, or does this child have something special that they need. All of the information that you put in registration, we share with the counselors, and they go through every single one of those kids and they look at their pictures and they make sure that they know everything they can to make them feel comfortable at camp and really build those connections between all the kids in the group. So great job there. So after they do morning rotations with their counselors, everyone will come back together and be dropped off to parents for lunch. So you should expect to eat with your kids for every meal. They always get dropped off for meals. And then after lunch, there's a little bit of a rest time where you can feel free to relax in your cabin. You could take a walk around, and then they come back to their color groups for afternoon rotations. And then at that time, adults will also have programming again. And then we have dinner. And then sometimes we have, before dinner, we might have a special family activity. On Thursday, we have something called family choice time. And so that is a piece of the program that is especially designed for families to do activities together as a unit. Some families break off because one kid wants to do cooking and another kid wants to do arts and crafts, and that's fine. We just need to make sure that an adult is with every child at all times during family choice. And there will be sign-ups for this on site where you can sign up for whichever activity seems best for you and your family on Wednesday evening as well as Thursday morning. So you'll sign up on site on a list And then from there on Thursday afternoon, you'll go to the activity that you signed up for. You can expect things like this year we have circus arts from our new activities director. We have comic book design, which we'll be doing this year to fit in with our superhero theme. We always have some really cool wood shop options if people want to do wood shop as a family. So you'll sign up for a family choice activity, and that will be your Thursday evening activity. On Friday evening, it's again family oriented. So everyone will go to all camp activity, which is kind of a big circus of things that people do together. Think of it like a carnival, and there's all different choices that people can do. There's a really fun theme this year, so we're working really hard on making sure that our all camp activity fits that theme and is really fun and interactive for all families to do together. So then we close out the night after dinner with campfire. And campfire is where, again, it's kind of like morning circle. Everyone comes together. They go to campfire together. Be sure to bring chairs if you would rather bring chairs, because there are benches on site, but usually kids and counselors are on the benches, and then parents and caregivers bring like camp chairs and they set them all up around. So make sure you have those ready. And I know little ones can sometimes find it difficult to be up late. As Rich said, it gets darker later. So we encourage everyone to at least come to campfire. If you need to bow out a little bit early for your little ones to do bedtime, totally fine, but it's really a great experience. It's very magical. Everyone should feel completely comfortable being silly and joining in. There is no judgment at campfire. You'll see the counselors being silly, and that encourages the kids to let go and be silly as well. So really participate in campfire and give it a try. And then after that, people go back to their cabins. And the only thing that may happen if you're in one of the older groups is something called a night walk, which is something that the older groups do with the counselors in their group. So kids will go on a night walk through the woods. That it's a very special experience. They get to do things that they wouldn't have done in any other place. My kids have said it has been the highlight. They really love night walk. And then you'll go and pick up your kids at the end of night walk, and it will be that same exchange with the bracelets. So anytime you're exchanging care, we exchange bracelets, and then you get them back afterwards. One more thing I just wanted to put a plug in for is childcare. Anyone who has children in childcare, usually they're between 0 and 3 years old. Childcare will be in the meeting house, and it is led by the amazing Amber Dawn. Anyone who has had experience with Amber Dawn, feel free to drop some comments in the chat. She is fantastic, excellent with children. Everyone raves about her. So if you have a child in that age range, you would bring them into the meeting house and down the stairs to the childcare room, and you would drop them off the same way that you do with colored groups. So they would stay there during the color group rotations, and then you can go to adult educational programming. I just wanted to touch real quickly on our key volunteers that you'll find at camp. We have housing coordinators that you'll meet right at your arrival of camp. As you arrive, our housing coordinators will be in golf carts, and you'll follow them to your cabin so that we make sure you get to where you need to go. They can also answer any questions. When you're on site, if you have anything happening in your housing or lodging accommodations that is an issue or that you have a question about, you can reach out to our housing coordinators at any time. We also have new families ambassadors. So anyone who is new to camp, you will be able to talk to the new families ambassadors about any questions that you have. They will also be giving tours when you arrive at camp. So between like 2:30 and 3:30, you'll see on your program that you can go with the new families ambassadors and do a tour of the campus. That way you know where everything is. And then finally, I just wanted to touch a bit about something that is called the Mama Mund crew. So this group of volunteers was started a few years ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago now. But this group of volunteers works closely with the counselors on any kids that have behavioral differences, anyone that is struggling with transitions. They are some of them are social workers, guidance counselors, mental health professionals. And if there is any concerns or the counselors are feeling like there needs to be like a one-to-one, they will reach out to the volunteers who are in the Mama Munch crew, and they will help facilitate color group rotations with that child until they're comfortable, or for the entirety of camp if necessary. So you'll see them on site as well. And they're an invaluable asset at camp. They've really come in clutch for a lot of the counselors when the kids need something special to their needs. And I think I have went through everything. Hopefully that covers it all. I'm very excited to see everyone at camp. I'll pass it back to Rich.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane. This is a lot of information. And I want to go back to the intent of tonight. It's to just give you a little bit of more than just reading an email and looking at a document. There's a lot of information coming, but know that you have us and several others that are in our camp leadership counselors, that if you have any questions at all, you can feel free to reach out to us. I did put in the chat as well, and I'm just going to show this really quick here, just to give a visual of those that have not been to Geneva Point before. This is the campus here. I know that if you haven't been, it looks like a map. This is the inn. So this is where you drive in. This is Winnie Scoops, the ice cream, the inn. These are all the cabins. These look super far down here, but they're not. This isn't a 20-minute walk. Everything is pretty relatively close in terms of less than 10 minutes to get from here to here. The furthest is the Geneva Woods, which is no one's staying there. Our counselors used to stay there, but that is if you're walking more like a 15-minute walk. 12-minute if you're walking briskly. But this is the campus, this is the waterfront. Just like with anything new, you'll get acquainted and we will help you find where you're going to go. When you arrive, we will have one of our volunteers circle on the map where you're going to be, and we also have volunteers that will help escort you to your room too, so that you will not just come and say, all right, have fun, we'll see you for the scavenger hunt. We are all about helping to hold hands and especially transition into a new environment here. So super excited to welcome everyone to Family Camp, and very excited that I believe, oh, there he is. Hey, Michael. This is our activities director for this year, Michael J. Gardner. We are so excited to have you part of Family Camp this year. So would love for you to just share a little bit about who you are and what can families look forward to this year.
Thank you so much, and I have to start by apologizing. My relationship with technology is awful, and for some reason, this meeting got switched around on my calendar. I'm so sorry to be late, but I'm so glad I was able to jump on at least for a second. I don't want to retread anything that's already been spoken about, but I can tell you just a little bit about myself. And I have been working at camps since 2006. I've worked at the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, started by Paul Newman. I'm sure many of you know that wonderful camp. I've worked at a variety of other camps in the meantime, most recently at Camp Southern Ground, which is a camp started by the country music artist Zach Brown. So that's just south of Atlanta. So for the past 3 years, I've been working with them, and I bring some clown energy to camp. So that is my trade. I'm a professional clown. I toured for 4 years with Cirque du Soleil, and I was also on tour with Britney Spears on her Circus World Tour. So I like to bring some energy, some fun, some sort of like not quite ordinary things. There's going to be some surprises and hopefully some delightful surprises with the things that I bring. For instance, with Morning Circle, Rich, have you all gone over all the sort of activities like the Morning Circle and campfires and things?
Yeah, yeah, yep. We touched upon that.
Great. I'll just touch very lightly on there. For the morning circles, I'm going to bring some of the sing song and dance that I've done at previous camps, which is basically super easy songs that have motions to them. So everyone can learn them. They're very simple dance moves, but they really are very engaging with the song, and they're very short. They're only about a minute, minute and a half each. So we can look forward to those for morning circle. We've got a lot of great stuff planned for the campfires. It's one of my absolute favorite things at camp, which is, songs and skits and just, music. Just campfire is absolutely my favorite thing, maybe in the entire world. And we get to showcase some family talent as well, hopefully during these. And then for the all camp activity, we've got something really special planned. We're going to run a carnival. I know that's a big hit at family camp. So we're going to do carnival, but we're going to do it in a superhero theme where there is an evil villain called. Oh, I mean, should I tell this or should I wait for? What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah. This is the kids are
I
not on
won't go into
here,
details.
so
Yeah,
yeah. So the
I won't
kids
go
are the
into
villain
details.
magic with this.
Beautiful. I won't go into details, but I'll say that there are some high concept, middle concept, and lower concept games that are going to be at the carnival. It should make it a lot of fun for everybody to engage in at whatever level they would like to. So, and that's it. That's me in a nutshell. Any questions?
We are so looking
Great.
forward to having you at
Oh,
camp this
I'm
year.
so looking forward to it.
Countdown is
You
on
have
3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks from today.
Oh, that's so wild. That's so wild. Y'all, NEHA Family Camp is legendary, even outside y'all circle. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So thank you so much for asking.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're very excited to have you there. Any questions for Michael, Diane, myself, Emily? A lot of information over the Zoom call that you are going to continue to receive reminders and documents. But if you read anything and you scratch your head and say, I really like some clarification on what this means, there is no silly question. Please reach out to us. We operate at NEHA. If one person has a question, more than likely another person has that question too. So that's how things end up on our FAQs. We are working behind the scenes as well, that when children go off into their colored groups, there is a lot of education and fun for adults as well. So stay tuned for that. This is kind of an open forum. I know we're a little bit past 8 o'clock. It's always tough to keep this to an hour. But if you have anything that you would like to put in the chat or just unmute yourself, this is certainly a safe space. Or if any of the tenured families, say that we, or that there's something that we missed, by all means, please unmute yourself and share that as well. Actually, we did miss something. Snacks. Um, Snacks will be provided throughout the day. So you are encouraged that if you like a certain snack or a certain drink, seltzers, other types of things, you can bring those. We just ask that the cabins, yes, they're in the woods. Just be mindful of cleaning up and not leaving open items out. There is ants, there's bugs. They try to make the cabins secure so mice cannot get in, but for anyone that has had a mouse or mice before, they can find their way into anything, especially if there's food out. There have been bears on the campus. I have not seen one before, but I know others have. So there is wildlife and there is animals as well. But during the day, yes, using containers and coolers, very, yeah, very smart Tupperware as well. During the day, during the rotations, there's a snack cart, very enthusiastic volunteer surprise. If you don't know them, that you will see that will always be decked up in the cart too. And there are snacks that are given. Water, there's water throughout the campus that you can fill. We encourage you. You will be getting a water bottle, but everyone's is going to look the same. So label things, because we often have a lost and found that is overflowing. So water, there's lemonade, there's orange slices, and there is a plethora of nut-free snacks that we will be able to offer. And I need to say that our camp committee and our volunteers have really stepped up this year. As I mentioned, this is our largest expense of the year, and so many of you on this call are helping us with it. I need to say thank you to the Laura Tam family for sponsoring the snacks this year. Thank you. We also just found out that Frito-Lay's is going to be giving us an in-kind donation too, so that helps out tremendously as well. So anything helps with that. But there will be snacks throughout the day that will be given to the kids, just like if they're in school and elsewhere. But please bring your own snacks, as well as you will get hungry, as we all do. But any other questions or comments? Great. Well, on behalf of NEHA, on behalf of our camp committee, counselors, volunteers, thank you for being on this journey with us. It's just beginning. We are in for quite the ride with our superhero theme as we go into the next 3 weeks. If you did not receive that packing list, or if you did not receive any emails from Brandon, please let myself or Diane know, and we will be sure to fix glitch on the backside. But until we see you on June 24th, we hope that you have fun getting your children, getting yourselves psyched up. If you've never camped before, I promise you that this will be quite the experience that will be memorable for your family. Most families, their entry point is family camp, and it's a bonding way and often a highlight of the summer. So thank you all for being part of this journey with us. We are so excited to see you in 3 short weeks. And if you have any questions at all that are coming up, please let us know. Until then, everyone have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
I see Grover, superhero Grover. I am a big Grover fan there. If someone could get Elmo off, I'll be really excited about that too. Oh, okay. How did you get Elmo off so quick? That's like magic. That is like magic right there.
Those are the 2 Muppets I have.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I did not know that. Awesome. So great to see everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Good night.
Bye.